The first use of antibiotics on humans was in 1942, when a Boston nightclub burnt down, killing 492 people. Fortunately, 114 lives were saved thanks to the experimental drug penicillin. The drug that was trialled on these victims killed the golden staph. This allowed doctors to perform skin grafts on the burn victims, saving their lives. Penicillin becomes a magic bullet, a simple pill that cures the worst of infections in the body. Penicillin was first discovered by Sir Alexander Fleming in 1928. He had left an agar plate out in his lab containing virulent Staphylococcus bacteria. After a couple days, Fleming noticed that a blue-green fungus was growing on the plate, and the bacteria had died in a perfect area around the fungus. This led him to believe that the fungus was killing the bacteria and identified it as penicillin, the first antibiotic. In 1938, Howard Florey and Ernest Chain found Fleming's work and decided to test it out on infected rats. The infected rats were treated with penicillin, lived, while the other rats that were not died. Florey presented these findings to the US and gets funding for mass production. The magic bullet was now available to the military, saving many more lives from infection, scoring them a Nobel Prize, and Florey was put on the Australian $50 note, currently is now on the $20 note. It was then released to the public without the need for a prescription till 1950. This was because of Fleming's findings that some bacteria were growing resistant populations and passing on this trait. This raised a red flag to some consumers that they must never take too much or too little. I'm here now at Western Sydney University with microbiologist John Senna. Now John, could you tell us a bit more about antibiotics? Antibiotics are defined as a medicine that inhibits the growth of or destroys microorganisms. Fungus creates these chemicals, or antibiotics, to kill other organisms that try to eat them. However, humans have harvested this and use it by ingesting it, killing microorganisms in our body. These antibiotics affect bacteria in a number of ways. For example, a range of antibiotics stop bacterial cell wall synthesis in DNA, protein synthesis. They also bind to ribosomes, which also stops protein synthesis. Thank you, John. Now, what is a microbiome, and what is the impact of overuse of antibiotics? The microbiome is referring to humans as a large mutualistic symbiotic relationship between us and them, the millions of bacteria and the human cells. These bacteria make up 90% of the human's DNA. They help us eat, protect us from invaders, keeping our skin acidic. They help us get the most from our meals by creating enzymes to help us get the right amount of nutrients. They give us vitamin K. They help us digest plant material, help out our immune system, and many more. Therefore, the microbiome is a very important part of our everyday lives. However, could antibiotics be affecting us and the microbiome? The antibiotics do not discriminate between good and bad bacteria. They can take out beneficial bacteria, and this can give pathogens the upper hand. Thank you, John. Now, could you explain the ways by which harmful bacteria have become resistant to antibiotics? Antibiotics are used to wipe out susceptible bacteria. Some of these survive due to their resistance gene, and by Darwin's theory of natural selection, these resistant genes increase in population, making it impossible for the antibiotic to kill the bacteria. These bacterium give genes that can code for protein pumps that pump antibiotics out of the cell. They also have genes for enzymes that inactivate or break down antibiotics. Another way these bacteria can gain resistance is by digesting another bacterium's DNA, which can give them and their offspring learn how to survive. A virus can infect a bacterium, the virus picks up the gene and transfers it to another bacterium. Are bacteria friend or foe? Does this question have a simple yes or no answer? From the understanding that antibiotics help the bacteria evolve into a stronger form, we can see that they are a foe. However, this doesn't stop them from being our allies. They have helped us learn more about the microbiome and the world around us. Humans have learnt the hard way. However, it may be hard for us to depend on them forever. I believe we should focus on vaccinations. They seem to be far more effective to wiping out infectious diseases and are far less threatening.